The grand ballroom of the Belmont Luxury Hotel shimmered under golden chandeliers, filled with the city's elite, business tycoons, celebrities, and powerful figures. Soft piano music floated through the air, played by a hired professional, setting the tone for yet another extravagant evening hosted by none other than Victor Hale, a billionaire known for his ruthless attitude and cold arrogance. Victor stood near the center, dressed in a perfectly tailored black suit, a glass of expensive whiskey in hand. His eyes scanned the room, not with admiration, but with judgment. To him, people were either useful or invisible. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, a young waitress named Ava Carter moved quietly between tables. She wore a simple uniform, her hair tied neatly, her presence almost unnoticed. But her eyes, deep, calm, and observant, held a story no one cared to ask about. Ava wasn't just a waitress. Once, she had been a piano prodigy. But life had stripped her of that identity, forcing her into survival mode after her mother's illness drained every last penny they had. As she placed a tray of drinks near Victor's table, one of his rich friends smirked. "Victor, this place is boring tonight. Even the music feels lifeless." Victor glanced toward the pianist, unimpressed. "Talent is overrated," he said coldly. "Most people just pretend to have it." His eyes suddenly landed on Ava. "You," he snapped his fingers. Ava froze for a moment, but stepped forward politely. "Yes, sir." Victor's lips curled slightly, sensing an opportunity for entertainment. "Do you play piano?" The question caught her off guard. She hesitated. "A little, sir." Ava tried to stay humble, hiding her past. Victor chuckled mockingly. "Perfect. Then go ahead. Entertain us." The table erupted in laughter. Ava's heart started pounding. She knew this wasn't a request. It was humiliation disguised as amusement. I'm just a waitress, sir." Victor leaned closer, his voice sharp. "Exactly. Let's see how a waitress performs." The room's attention slowly shifted toward them. Eyes turned. Whispers spread. Ava felt the weight of judgment pressing down on her. For a moment, she considered refusing. But then she remembered her mother, the hospital bills, the job she couldn't afford to lose. So she nodded softly. "I'll try." Victor leaned back, satisfied. "Oh, we're counting on it." And just like that, the stage was set, not for entertainment, but for humiliation. The music stopped. The professional pianist stepped aside, confused, as Ava slowly approached the grand piano placed at the center of the ballroom. The spotlight wasn't meant for her, but tonight, it found her anyway. The murmurs grew louder. Is she really going to play? This should be interesting. Probably a disaster. Ava could hear every whisper, every doubt, every expectation of failure. Her hands trembled slightly as she sat down on the bench. The polished keys reflected her nervous face. For a moment, she closed her eyes. And suddenly, the world around her faded. The laughter, the judgment, the fear, all of it disappeared. In its place came memories. Her mother smiling proudly as young Ava played her first melody. The sound of applause in small competitions. The dreams she buried when life became cruel. A single tear rolled down her cheek. Then, her fingers touched the keys. At first, the notes were soft, fragile. The audience barely reacted. Victor smirked, whispering to his friend, "Told you." But then, something changed. Ava's posture straightened. Her fingers began to move with confidence. The melody deepened, richer, stronger, more emotional. It wasn't just music. It was pain. It was love. It was everything she had lost, and everything she still carried inside. The room slowly fell silent. Conversation stopped. Glasses froze midair. The sound of the piano grew powerful, filling every corner of the ballroom with an intensity no one expected. Victor's smirk faded. His eyes narrowed slightly. This wasn't amateur. This wasn't a little. This was mastery. Ava was no longer a waitress sitting at a piano. She was an artist reclaiming her soul. Her fingers danced across the keys with breathtaking speed and precision. Every note struck like a heartbeat, alive, raw, undeniable. The melody shifted again, this time softer, more emotional. It told a story of struggle, of dreams crushed, of strength rising from pain. Some guests felt goosebumps. Others were completely still, as if afraid even breathing might break the magic. One woman in the audience wiped away tears. Victor leaned forward unconsciously. For the first time in years, He wasn't in control of the room. Ava was. And she didn't even look at anyone. She played for herself, for her mother, for the life she lost. The final section began. Powerful, fast, flawless. Her hands blurred over the keys in a breathtaking finale. And then, silence. Her fingers stopped. The last note echoed and disappeared. For a split second, the entire room stood frozen. Then, thunderous applause exploded. People stood up, clapping, cheering, some even shouting in amazement. The same people who had doubted her just minutes ago were now completely captivated. Ava slowly stood up, overwhelmed, her breathing unsteady. But her eyes didn't look at the crowd. They looked at Victor. And for the first time, Victor Hale had no words. Victor remained seated, his expression unreadable. The applause continued, but in his mind, everything had gone quiet. He replayed the moment. Her hesitation, his mockery, and then her brilliance. For the first time in his life, Victor felt something unfamiliar. Regret. Ava stepped away from the piano, ready to disappear back into the shadows where she believed she belonged. But Victor stood up. Wait. The entire room went silent again. All eyes turned toward him. Ava froze. Victor walked slowly toward her. His usual confidence was still there, but something had changed. Something softer. Something human. You said you play a little, he said. Ava looked down. I didn't think it mattered. Victor exhaled deeply. It matters. There was a pause. Then, in front of everyone, Victor did something no one had ever seen before. He lowered his head slightly. An apology. I was wrong. Gasps filled the room. Victor Hale, apologizing? I tried to humiliate you, he continued. But you showed me something I haven't seen in a long time. He looked directly into her eyes. Real talent. Ava didn't speak. She didn't smile. She simply nodded. Because for her, this wasn't about proving him wrong. It was about remembering who she truly was. The night ended differently than anyone expected. Ava didn't go back to serving tables. Instead, she walked out of the ballroom with her head held high, not because of the applause, but because she found herself again. Victor watched her leave. For the first time, he didn't see a waitress. He saw someone stronger than him. The next day, news of the performance spread across the city. Videos went viral. People searched for her. Opportunities came flooding in. But Ava didn't rush. Because this time, she wasn't chasing success. She was reclaiming her passion. And Victor? He changed. Not overnight, but slowly. Because sometimes, it only takes one moment, one unexpected truth, to break even the strongest arrogance.